Welcome everyone to Law and Crime Daily. I'm Brian Buckmeyer along with Terry Austin. The death toll continues to rise in Surfside, Florida. And as search crews continue their efforts, more questions are being asked about the legal implications of the deadly condo collapse.
It is such painstaking, grueling work.
As crews remove more than 3 million pounds of debris, the Miami-Dade state attorney has announced a grand jury investigation into what may be the deadliest accidental building collapse in U.S. history. The mayor of Miami-Dade County pledging her support.
I will do, and my team will do everything possible to aid them in their efforts to continue that investigation.
Senior prosecutors are on the scene at the disaster site to collaborate with engineers and investigators. Dump trucks are removing rubble to an evidence debris collection site.
We're relocating it to a location where it'll be also collected, sift through, a catalog photograph for future investigative purposes.
But as the process continued, loved ones are searching for answers. A newly released email from April by the board of directors for the Champlain Towers shows residents were told that damage discovered in 2018 got significantly worse. The estimated cost of repairs had jumped from $9 million to $15 million. Individual condo owners were set to begin payments on July 1st. And the Miami Herald obtaining photos taken just 36 hours before the collapse of the pool equipment room, showing exposed rebar and wet floors. Shocking video captured the moments the building collapsed. The following day, the first lawsuit of what's expected to be many was filed. The class action suit against the building association seeks more than $5 million in damages, saying Champlain Towers failed to safeguard the lives and property of the residents. And as rescue efforts continue from day 7 into day 8, more than 200 people are working on the mound.
I can't emphasize enough, the dangers that we're encountering.
The Florida rain washing in as fires creep up in Surfside. So many questions, so few answers. Joining me now is condominium law attorney Kevin Hirzel. Kevin, let's get jump right into it. Who can be sued, and how can the surviving victims and loved ones recover just some of their terrible losses?
That's a very interesting question, Brian. So thus far, the lawsuits, they've been pointed at the Condo Association. So one of the central issues that's going to come up here is whether or not there's insurance coverage. In these cases, it's debatable whether there's going to be insurance coverage for a building collapse. If there is no insurance coverage and the association is sued, the owners, the residents, the estates of these people would have to pay an assessment to do that. So in effect, these lawsuits, they may end up essentially suing themselves.
Interesting. Now, Kevin, this is far out of my wheelhouse as a public defender, but I know statute of limitations, the time frame in which a person can file a suit, this could prevent some people from filing claims against the condo, right?
Probably not against the condo, because their actions happened in the last couple of years with respect to the repairs. Certainly there are other responsible parties, such as the developer, that the statute of limitations may long since have expired, depending on whether this was properly put together from the get-go. There may be issues with the city and the inspections. They told them that this property was okay, but they're protected by governmental immunity. Certainly depending on who provided what advice when with respect to the engineers, there may be issues there as well that are eventually going to be looked at here too.
Sounds like a lot of investigation as to who may be on the hook and who can get pulled in. Let's bring in co-host Terry Austin for more. Terry, what type of claims and arguments do you see when a condo collapses like this?
I think there's going to be years and years of litigation. There's going to be negligence claims, wrongful death. And Kevin is absolutely correct. There will be claims against the association, but also there will be claims against the developers, the owners, the managers, anyone who had anything to do with the collapse of this building. And if they were negligent, meaning they owed a duty to the residents of this building. And we know for a fact that we're seeing reports where they're saying that there was damage to the property, it needed to be maintained, and clearly that was not done here. So there will be some recovery for sure from most of these individuals who are bringing the claims.
Yeah, at least some of these photos and videos seem to be starting the groundwork, sorry, no pun intended, for kind of developing what could be a very serious lawsuit. Now, Kevin, these seem like civil allegations that could be coming out of this case. Are there any potential for there being criminal liability, maybe recklessness or criminal negligence against some of these parties?
A grand jury has been convened, but I think it's highly unlikely that there would be any criminal liability. There was a building that collapsed in New York about a year ago, similar type of process, and no criminal charges has been brought forward in that particular case. But the one thing that's really important to realize here is we don't even know what caused this yet. Causation for either a civil or a criminal lawsuit is going to be extremely important. So unless somebody has an expert report that can establish what caused this, which nobody has yet, nobody really has any business bringing a civil lawsuit or bringing criminal charges until those investigations are complete.
Yeah, it sounds like you're bringing me back to my law school days of Paul's graph of but-for causation. Terry, any other insight that we can get into this collapse of the building that might give us an indication that civil charges may be coming out of this grand jury investigation?
Well, I think every time we hear about some notice that has been given to the parties involved, we know for a fact that they have breached some duty of care if they knew that there was an issue with the building and with the structure of that building. So when you hear reports about years ago, they gave them notification that there was a problem, that they knew that there was water, we're going to see lawsuits coming for sure.
All right, Kevin, thank you for lending your expertise here and kind of giving us the up and down as to what could happen in the Surfside condo collapse. Still ahead on Law and Crime Daily, are criminal charges looming against members of the Trump organization? But first, Lori Vallow Daybell indicted in the death of one of her husbands. Charles Vallow's warning to police about the